Hey guys, welcome to Whisktakers. My name's Leuven, and today we'll be taking a look at using Poison Mushroom Cookie in guild battles. Before we start, just want to say a huge thank you for all the support on our last two videos. I know it's been a while since we made a video, that's because I got busy with school, but now I'm back. As the title suggests, we'll be using Shroomie in guild battles. There are two ways to use Shroom, and the difference will be very much seen in the damage output. I'll be going over both of them, which is the safe strat and the risky strat. Both strats will shoot up your damage output when done right, so it's a matter of if you can do it. With that said, let's look at the first one, which is the safe strat. We'll be using our standard double vamp team for today, so if you'd like to know what's the best build for your guild battle team, feel free to click the link card up here to check out our video that covers the basics. For Shroomie, all you need is a full set of attack toppings, with, of course, as many attack stats as possible. Then ideally, you'll want at least 5% cooldown for the timings to work just right. It's best to get about 5 or 6%, not too much because it might mess up your timings, and not too little or else it just won't work. It's a pretty simple and straightforward build, so you should be able to do this pretty easily. For treasures, it'll be the same as your standard double vamp specs, with scroll, sling, and a max clock. A 10 or 11 clock may work, but you still need to throw on extra CD stats on all your cookies. So just use your mileage to get treasure draws, and you'll get there in no time at all. Now that you have your team fully set up, let's jump into how a successful run of the safe Shroomie strat should look like.
이걸로 끝이다. 목마르다고. 최강의 해골이다. 이걸로 끝이다. 목마르다고.
Okay, it looks pretty simple, so let's break it down. First, you're gonna cast Liko just as he's off cooldown. When Rai hits the pillar just here, you want to cast DC and Shroomie both. If you prefer to look at Sling, that's about 2 or 3 o'clock like here. At about 6 o'clock, you'll want to cast Vamp, then Rai at about 9. Cast Liko for the second time along with Sling, as soon as your CD is up. When the dragon starts to summon the minions, cast DC to delay the minions, then Shroom as soon as their cooldown is up. Then you give Vamp and Sling one last cast, and it's over. For me, my average went from 3.3 million to 3.8 million. And it seems to be pretty much the same increase for the guild members, an average of 500k increase. With the safe strat done, let's talk about the risky strat. The risky strat requires a bit more fine-tuning, and as the name suggests, there's risk involved. Runs may or may not succeed depending on random factors, but at the end of the day, you're still getting a pretty healthy amount of damage. Quick shout out to King Wildfire, Jan, and other lab members of Whisktakers for providing me with all the info, stats, and footage that I'll be using in this section. Personally, I haven't really gotten a successful risky run, so their help in explaining the use of Shroomie in guild battles, as well as providing example footage has been immensely useful for me to learn and make this video. So thank you guys. While the rest of your team remains pretty much unchanged, you'll need a couple of extras on Shroomie. First, you want to have 20% or more damage resist on Shroomie. This is to ensure Shroom doesn't die or lose too much health on the damage reflecting back onto them. Your cooldown subs should just be about the same, so no changes on that. Next, you want to eliminate any and all crit percent on Shroom, just to add to that layer of prevention. Getting other protective substats like defense or HP will also help, while his attack substats won't matter as much here. Adding to that, you'll also find utilizing the research lab to be helpful. Raising the defense and HP for bomber type cookies will help to increase Shroom's survivability. thus making sure you have a higher success rate for your risky runs. Well, that's a bit of a doozy, but if you can get all of these things checked off the list, you'll probably end up with successful runs that pay off greatly. With all that out of the way, let's get into the actual battle.
최강의 해골이다! 이걸로 끝이다! 목마르다고! 최강의 해골이다! 이걸로 끝이다! 최강의 해골이다! 목마르다고!
So, that didn't look too different from a safe strat run. Let's look a little closer. First up, same thing, cast Liko once he's off cooldown here. When Rai hits the pillar, you can cast DC. At about or a little after 3 o'clock on Slingshot, you'll want to cast Shroom. This is to make sure these little mushrooms can explode just as Slingshot is up. As you can see here, Shroom loses a great amount of health from the damage reflected. I'll go a little more in depth on this after where I compare both strats, so for now let's just focus on the timings. After Shroom, it's time for Vamp at 6 o'clock, then Rai at 9 o'clock. Liko and Sling when they're both done on cooldown. And when the dragon is about to summon minions, you want to cast DC to delay. Cast your second Shroom once they're off cooldown, Vamp and Sling for the last blow, and you're done. As you can see here, there's a bit of difference in damage from Shroom. So while a bit of work goes into this, you still get a fair bit of increase in damage when using the risky strat. So it really is up to you to decide if this strat is for you. Well, maybe you're saying you still don't know if all of this is for you. Well, let's go into the differences and explanation between these two strats, shall we? First, let's go into why the risky strat is, well, risky to begin with. Shroomie's attack is basically throwing these 3 little mushrooms towards the enemy, and they explode after a second or two. After the burst, the enemy will have poison applied to them, losing damage over time. With the damage reflect on the dragon, Shroom will get reflected when these mushrooms burst. The poison damage, however, would not be reflected back onto Shroom. Even so, Shroom still takes a noticeable amount of damage. On the risky strat, you'll be lining up both of Shroomie's bursts with Slingshot activation. This will greatly increase the damage reflected back onto Shroomie, which explains the need for all the protective stats on them, especially damage resist. It's important that Shroom doesn't lose too much health here, or else they won't get a second cast in. It's a bit of work to get there, but you get quite a bit of extra damage once you can make these 2 bursts line up nicely. On the safe strat, your first burst won't get Sling, ensuring Shroomie survives till the second cast. While it may seem like it's less than the risky strat, safe strat is a good starting point for you to work towards higher damage, since just by using Shroom you still see an increase in your damage. If you're still not sure if you should go straight to trying the risky strat or do the safe strat first, I highly recommend you do the safe strat just to get a feel for things. Then progress towards the risky strat after you feel that you're confident and you know what you're doing. And that's all I have for how to use Shroomie in guild battles. Hopefully this guide helped you understand how to use Shroomie better and utilize these 2 strats to increase the damage output. If you have any questions, feel free to join our Discord server. You can head over to our channels to ask any questions regarding the game, get help from our fellow community members, and have fun hanging out. Whisktakers is also currently recruiting, so you can go to the application channel and send in an application to join the guild. If you like this video, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribe. Let us know down in the comments what kinds of videos you'd like to see us make next. And until then, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.